72% of Americans report some kind of contact with the dead. 8 million Americans claim to have undergone a near-death experience. 8 million Americans. And that may well be an understatement, since a great many people are reluctant to talk about their experiences. Even in more skeptical countries, the figures are similar. In England, 66% of nurses reported mystical events brought on by close involvements with people in their dying moments. An Oxford University study. These and other figures indicate a profound acceptance of the possibility of contact with the dead. But what exactly are we talking about?
Many people are profoundly transformed by this experience who survive it. Their attitude toward life changes drastically. They become much more appreciative of the privilege of living. They become much more compassionate and loving toward others. And one thing that's almost universal among these people, they lose their fear of death and lose it forever as a result of knowing that, from their understanding, there is no death.
השאלה שנשאלת בראש ובראשונה היא, האם יש נשמות? האם יש חיים שלאחר המוות?
Thinking about it now, it's as if I'm dreaming now, and then I was awake. Then I was awake and conscious. I think they should call it a near-life experience, because it's more alive than I've ever been.
Near-death experience be studied rationally and legitimately? Is it the kind of thing which could potentially be admitted to the academic setting as a serious study of scholars? My answer to that is absolutely yes.
מוות בשבילי היה סוף פסוק. אין שום דבר אחר כך. אחרי אותו אירוע, ועם כל מה שלמדתי, עם השנים שחלפו מאז, אני מבין שזה רק התחלה של דברים.
ברגע שהגעתי לתוך האור, ראיתי והבנתי שזה לא רק אור, אלא זאת מציאות שלמה, זו הוויה שלמה.
The near-death experience. Cast out of yourself, leaving your physical body, passing through unimaginable sounds, light, waves of feeling, overpowering visions of things you never conceived of before. Faces of the dead. Are you alive? And if you are, where are you going? How could anyone's life not be changed?
אתה יכול להביא אותם על ידי מקבלים מסר ויכולים לעשות. יש כאלה שהם כל כך אטומים שהם כנראה צריכים משהו הרבה יותר דרסטי על מנת שהם יבינו מסר ויוכלו ללכת לכיוון. אני הייתי כל כך מסוגר לנושא הזה, כל כך, כמו שהגדרת קודם, מרובע, סגור בתוך עולם של נוסחאות ושל מתמטיקה, שלהוציא אותי מהדבר הזה הייתי צריך שוק רציני. השוק הזה אני מניח שהיה אותה תופעה של מוות קליני, והזמן למחשבה שהיה לי אחרי זה. מה זה אומר, לאן זה מוביל, מה אני אמור לעשות עם זה.
היחס שלך למוות השתנה?
זה מוזר, כי היחס למוות עצמו לא השתנה. אולי בגלל מקום העבודה הקודם שלי במסגרת המוסד, אין פחד מהמוות. המוות הוא דבר שהוא יכול להיות אורח יומיומי, אז גם הפחד עצמו לא היה קיים. כך שפה ההתייחסות למוות לא השתנתה. נשארה אותה סוג של התייחסות. זאת אומרת, אם הוא בא, ברוך הבא, מתי שהוא בא, וזה בסדר. ההבדל הגדול הוא שקודם לכן, מוות בשבילי היה סוף פסוק. אין שום דבר אחר כך. אחרי אותו אירוע, ועם כל מה שלמדתי, עם השנים שחלפו מאז, אני מבין שזה רק התחלה של דברים.
Get to a hospital, you'll bleed to death in just a few minutes. A young paramedic looked down into my face. It appeared like the ambulance literally exploded in flames. I thought it had actually blown up. It filled with smoke, and immediately I was moving through that smoke as if through a tunnel. And after some period of time, coming out of the smoke and out of the darkness, I began to hear the voices of a multitude of people screaming and groaning and crying. But as I looked down, the sensation was looking down upon a volcanic opening and seeing fire and smoke and people inside of this burning place screaming and crying. They were burning, but they weren't burning up. They weren't being consumed. And then the sensation of moving downward into this. But the most terrible part of it, I began to recognize many of the people that I was seeing in these flames. as if a close-up lens on a camera was bringing their faces close to me. I could see their features and see the agony and the pain and the frustration. And a number of them began to call my name and said, "Ronnie, don't come to this place. There's no way out. There's no escape. If you come here, there's no way out." I believe the most painful part of it was the loneliness. And the depression was so heavy that there was no hope. There was no escape. There was no way out of this place. And the smell was like sulfur, like an electric welder. And as I'm looking into this pit, this place of fire and screams and torment, I just fade out.
And as I looked at an angle, probably 35 or 40 degrees, I could see a tunnel. The tunnel was like a spiral, like it was moving whether I was moving or not. Then I began to whisk down it, and I could hear these chimes, but I was in utter peace and utter tranquility. And it was such a stark, dramatic difference between the way that body was and what was happening to that body and this place I was, this utter peace. As I moved closer to the light, I was kept being surrounded and filled with this love of like, I can't describe it except when you haven't seen your parents in a long time. If you've been away from your family, and when you first see your mom and your dad, that feeling when you're a small kid, that feeling that you get. I knew I was safe, I knew everything was peaceful, and I knew it was right. As I came into the tunnel, came through the tunnel, I came into a place much like walking out of a dark room into a bright room, as if my eyes were trying to adjust to this brilliant light. The contrast between the brilliant light of the lightning bolt and the brilliant light that was in the tunnel was another thing that was quite dramatic. Because this light was so brilliant and so bright, it passed through me, it permeated me. It and I became one. Every feeling, every thought, every action, every deed, all at the same time. The same time. And as it started happening, I began to see how I affected the person that I had the encounter with, or the experience, whether it be me personally, or whether it be someone else. And then how they were affected. How it was one step removed from us and how they were affected. And believe me, there is nothing hidden in your life.
Very, very great thing happened with me. It was that I saw my parents, my real parents, and I understood that they were killed. And they were killed by KGB in Moscow, and I was happy of this. It sounds very ridiculous, but you know, I was happy because I was thought that I was abandoned by them.
And I'd lost a girlfriend in the polio epidemic in the 30s. I think it was 38, but I'm not positive of that date. And she assured me that everything was fine and she was happy. And I also saw my grandparents coming to meet me. I had never known my grandfathers. They had both passed away before I was born. But I did know my grandmothers and my mother also. And as I'm there, this baby appears to me. And he says, "Hi, I'm your brother." And I said, "I don't have a brother." And we don't talk as I'm talking to you. There was no way of misunderstanding. It was more like it was mental telepathy. And he shows himself to me as a small infant, dressed in a cap and a little long dress with a knitted sack over it, booties and socks, and tells me to look me over now and remember how I look this way. And you can tell our Father when you get back, and he'll tell you it happened. And when I was able to talk to him, my dad said, "Well, I don't know how you knew that, because nobody but your mother and the doctor and I knew about these things."
דאשלימו יומי דברנש להפקה מעלמה, בשעה שהושלמו ימי האדם לצאת מהעולם, יתייהיב רשות, ניתנת רשות, כלומר יכולת, לברנש, לבן האדם, למחמא מדלה הבלה, ניתנת לו היכולת לראות מה שלא יכל לראות בעודו חי. כי כשהאדם חי הוא כבול בגוף, בלבוש הזה. יצא, כעת הוא רק רוחני, יכול לראות הרבה יותר. בהמשך הזוהר אומר, אבוהי וקריבוהי משתכחן תמן עימה. אביו וקרוביו, כלומר שנפטרו לפניו, נמצאים איתו שם בשעת הפטירה, וחמה להון, הוא רואה אותם, והשתמודה להון, הוא מתוודע למציאותם, ואזלין עם נשמתה עד אתר דתשרה באתרה. הם מלווים אותו עד המקום שבו הוא אמור להיות.